platforms that we're talking about, whether it's, a podcast platform like Spotify or, or if you're putting it on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, these platforms need to be fed every single day, especially right now with how much information is there. You're not going to break through doing something once a month.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Producer Mindset. Today we have a very special guest here with us. His name is Bryon Lazine. You may know him as a real estate broker. You may know him from having a business marketing company, but you may also have listened or tuned into any of his shows like the 5 a.m. call, The Real World, the Bryon Lazine podcast. And I don't know. If you don't know him by now, you should definitely get to know him. Really cool guy. I found him on Instagram, and here we are today. A week later, I think we contacted each other about last week, right?
Yeah. No, I appreciate you reaching out too, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm interested to hear what you guys are all about and do this podcast.
Absolutely, man. So it's the first time that we talk. So a little bit about us. We do help out real estate agents and brokerages with their social media marketing and video production. But the one big thing that we've noticed over the last year being in business is there's a shyness of getting in video, no matter how much, they've been drilled down and told that they have to do video. There's somewhat of a misconception of how to use social media. It's a lot of people think that we're looking back at 2013 Facebook when you could get so many leads off of ads on Facebook, right? But not many real estate agents are grasping the concept of building a personal brand and just getting themselves out there, which is why I wanted to touch base with you, because you've been on the broker side, you understand the marketing side, and you're constantly putting out new content out there. So I want to get your take on that and see where this conversation goes.
Yeah. And actually, you mentioned 2013. I started real estate sales in the end of 2012. And I primarily focused on Facebook advertising and just not even advertising, really. I didn't probably start pouring money into ads till probably a year after I started because I didn't have any money in the beginning, but just producing consistent content on that platform. Because what was I going to do? Compete with the 30-year vets that, they were filling up the newspaper. I didn't have a newspaper budget, nor did I really think that was, the right place to get an ROI in 2013. So that was the first thing I did, was besides expired calls, was I just started investing my brand every single day. It was pretty obvious to me that you had to have a presence every single day. It was my opportunity to have a billboard in my community through Facebook, 7 days a week, basically for free, just my own time, work, and effort in the beginning. Then I started investing in it because I could see the potential and certainly the return. Absolutely. And yeah, that's how I started.
And at what point did you tell yourself, okay? And I love that you said, I had the opportunity to put up a free billboard, right? It is. Most people spend hundreds and thousands of dollars every single year, whether it's to do it on actual billboards, to get their name on the radio and things like this. But I've always felt like there's no tracking that goes into that. Whereas if you put something out on social media, you're able to track some data analytics and really get to understand the return of investment and the return of engagement that you get from building somewhat of a name for yourself.
Yeah. And really it's where all the attention is too, right? Like not nobody. I have a radio show. I do a radio show every Saturday. I've been doing that for 4 years, a traditional radio show. We actually build a huge email newsletter out of it. Surprisingly, you'd think, how can you do that? But I think most of the attention is going to be on our mobile devices.
And at which point did you tell yourself, all right, I'm just going to jump on video? And what was that like for you? Were you hesitant at first? Because I feel like that's a common trend nowadays in real estate.
I wasn't hesitant. I understand that it is absolutely a barrier to entry for a lot of people, and they're going to be hesitant, in your words, or or even they know they have to do it, but they're going to overthink it and come up with all these reasons why they haven't started, and they're trying to come up with content when really all of the content is sitting in their email inbox with questions that consumers have asked them over the years. But no, you know what actually really pushed me to do it was I was shooting a video I started shooting videos for listings. That was like really, how I started shooting videos, just setting up a camera and talking about the listing and doing funny stuff. And we had like a $3 million listing at the time. And so I wasn't shooting the video. I had a couple production guys local that I knew and started networking with help us out on that project. And we were just sitting around waiting for the next shot or whatever we were doing. And they said, hey, have you ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? He just did a keynote for Remax. Your real estate, Remax, obviously huge real estate company. So you should check that out. I said, I'll check it out. And it was like an hour keynote or whatever. This must have been back in that time frame of like 14 or whatever. And, he made a lot of sense, right? It was practical. It was implementable. I could go and just start my own show the next week. And that's what I did. I started a show, which you can't even find right now on YouTube. It's been taken down. My original show, which did about 200 episodes, and now have the Real Word, which were 127 episodes or whatever, right? So I've just always done a consistent weekly show every single week. Then I added the radio show, turned that into a podcast, started doing the 5 a.m. call daily, just started to really invest all in on daily content. Because the platforms that we're talking about, whether it's, a podcast platform like Spotify or, or if you're putting it on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, these platforms need to be fed every single day, especially right now with how much information is there. You're not going to break through doing something once a month.
Yep.
Definitely. And the other part of it too is I like long form, like this stuff, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, right? Because I can break out clips. I can break out, like on Instagram, I have a lot of, 30 to 60 second clips, or even 15 seconds now I'm putting on TikTok and then sharing to my Instagram stories. I have every single blog that we write under my personal brand is from either a 5 a.m. call or one of the podcasts. So I get so much more content throughout the week. I can produce, this week alone, my personal brand, I've posted over 50 pieces of content in the last 7 days. And it's really just based off of a couple of different 20 to 30 minute shows. I'm just pulling all the content out of those pillar pieces.
That's great. That's great. So you said back in 2014, you started really, you saw Gary Vaynerchuk, do his keynote at Remax. Did you draw inspiration from doing daily content from that? Or did you have an idea that you wanted to, be in production?
No, the one big takeaway I had from that is I need to have a weekly show. I need to have one like ongoing piece of content that is in my calendar in perpetuity, like every single week. And, that's what I did back then. And that's what I still do now. Like, it's Tuesdays in my calendar, Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. We're filming the Real Word. There's no, I'm not having an inspection or a listing appointment. Like if somebody wants to schedule me, that time frame on Tuesdays is off limits. That's the only way you're going to be consistent with a show. Especially if you're doing the show with somebody else,
right?
And two people are trying to match up each other's schedules. Well, I can't do it here because I've got this. All those is excuses, bullshit, and lack of commitment. It needs to be in the calendar the same day, every single week, the same time, with no excuses. If I'm down in Florida, which I go and spend the winters down Southwest Florida, same thing. We've got the internet. I can get on the show and record that show the same time, no matter where I am. And that's the most important thing, because most people will start a show, they'll get 3 or 4 episodes in, and then the scheduling and everybody's busy life gets in the way and they fall off, and they didn't like the amount of likes they got in the first 3 shows. So that was another reason why they're just not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. So to that point, I feel like a lot of people in the real estate industry, they don't see the likes, they don't see the comments, they don't see the level of engagement that of course builds over time. what would you say to those people that are like, okay, I'm going to do video for 2 months, 3 months, and then if nothing comes out of it, then I'm just quitting?
Well, my question would be, are you quitting the business? Because what's your alternative to build your brand? Like, what's your alternative? Do you have a great blog that's taken off and you're going to just take that time and continue writing? Like, what else do you have? You know, are you on national TV like Ryan Serhant or something? All right. I guess then I could argue that, okay, maybe, but even then, you know, and he'll tell you the TV show has brought him a lot less than his IG and YouTube channel. His YouTube channel, he says, has been the best branding and marketing tool for his business by far. So what else you got?
I love that. Thank you. You just kind of dropped the bomb on a lot of people. And the question for you then is, at which point did you realize, all right, I'm doing this weekly. Now I'm starting to see the return of, you know, the return of doing this on a weekly basis, the relationships that you got a chance to build.
I mean, I had, you know, in the beginning, you get a lot of the, oh my gosh, seeing your videos, you know, you're seeing people out and about in the community and oh, I'm seeing you, what you're doing, man, go for it, you know, keep it going, that kind of stuff. And, you know, that's positive reinforcement, that feels good. But the first time that I really saw an ROI was when I got called by a developer, a new homes developer. They had a development of 76 homes, and they had sold 67 of those homes. They had 9 lots left, a couple of spec homes on those 9 homes. So they had 2 built and 7 lots left, right? Well, they had the agent, their current agent at the time was an agent that their father, this is a 2 sisters and a brother on this development team, and their father had hired this agent, and he had been their agent basically for 20 plus years. He was the agent that sold the first 67 homes in the subdivision. But at this time, you know, back then, homes in Connecticut were not selling really fast at all. And he hadn't sold one in about 18 months, believe it or not, even though there were 67 sold before, and he wasn't doing any creative marketing. They saw the show I was doing at the time on YouTube, the sisters did, and they told the brother, and they said, you just got to have this guy in for a conversation. Now, how do I know this was working? Well, obviously I got the call, but these people never liked the video. They never commented on the video. They never shared the video. These guys were old school developers. They've been in the game for a long time. They were researching agents that were doing something differently, probably through Google. Google owns YouTube, so YouTube videos are going to pop to the top. They started watching my content, not commenting on it or anything like that. Yeah. And then they picked up the phone and reached out to me. Once I got the appointment, that's what agents and brokers are trying to do. They're trying to get face-to-face or on Zoom nowadays, or whatever the case may be. But they're trying to get in front of somebody who can buy or sell real estate. In this particular case, these people could, you know, they were ready and wanting to sell 9 homes in that subdivision. I ended up signing the rest of the subdivision away from the agent who their father hired and who they had for 20 plus years. And that was my introduction into new construction and new development, all because I was posting. And at that time, I was editing myself. You know, I was doing everything myself, like really bad editing. It was terrible, but the content was still good. The messaging was still on point, and it got me the conversation. And now today we sit here and we've got the biggest new development in the county that we work in, New Haven County in Connecticut. It's award winning. It's broken. It's like the top 6 condo sales price per square foot of all time in New Haven County. That's awesome. And you know, you got to climb the ladder. You've got to show that you've done new development in the past to get something like that. But the show enabled me to get that first crack. And it's never been about, you know, likes or hearts or any of that stuff for me. I've never bought one follower or, you know, done any of that horse crap. I've just continued to grind, put out my message. And on the back end, I'm a true salesperson. So like I actually, you know, operate my business, but I, you know, believe the brand has accelerated my speed at which I've been able to, from end of 2012 to today, that I've been able to, accomplish things a lot faster.
And how important has it been for you to? So I love that you've taken, the organic route. A lot of even what we've done to grow our brand a lot was like participate on like influencer marketing campaigns and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But how important has it been for you? Like you've been constantly building an organic personal brand. How important has it been for you to like create and maintain engagement with the people that are following you? Like you just mentioned, right? Somebody like messaged you and you got this brand new development off of people that had never liked your content, had never commented on it. They probably never even followed you. And it just happened because you were putting yourself out there that the connection and the relationship happened. So how important is it for you to engage with your so-called community or your following?
Yeah, it's almost as important as putting the content out. I think, you've got to put content out or you're basically invisible. But then if you're not going to engage in the comment section or on the DM when people reach out to you, now what are you getting out of it, right? You're just getting broad awareness, and maybe they're going to go hit you on your website and hopefully have somebody answering questions there. But this is a start of a conversation. If I were to walk into a party and make some big, bold 30-second statement or, have some kind of speech, and then people were giving me positive feedback and I just walked out the back door like it was a mic drop, they would think I'm a jerk, So you're starting the conversation for a reason. And that's why you've got to, kind of understand what content you're going to produce and position it. You got to understand who you're trying to speak to. Most agents start to get confused of what their goal is. Yeah. Our team content is much different than the content I have I'm an industry geek. So a lot of the stuff on Instagram, unless you're like a real estate geek and, really care about digging into industry details, you're not gonna want to be there all the time. But our One in Company, my real estate team here in Connecticut, that's all about the community. We're doing lobster review shows every single week because we're on the Connecticut shoreline and lobster rolls are, a big thing in the summer. We're highlighting our agents, highlighting different local businesses, and obviously our sales and all of that. And you've got to be community driven if you're talking about a real estate team, agent, or brokerage.
That's really cool. Josh, do you have any questions?
I don't think so. No, I love it.
I have one last question because what you just said about your business page. So your personal brand is very much real estate at a high level. Like you have to geek out about real estate to enjoy the content and to love the content. Like there's value, there's a lot of value there. But you also mentioned your real estate business, the one in company. Is it One in Company or One Plus Company?
One and Company. Yep.
One in Company, right? So One in Company, that's where you build a hyper local awareness, essentially.
That's right.
So from the marketing talk, right? Because I know you understand this very well. Would you take a look at social media, at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as a lead generation source primarily, or would you look at it from a brand awareness and essentially top of mind funnel for your business? What would you look at it as?
Brand awareness and, top of the funnel first does generate leads. You can go the ad route too if you want to get really aggressive on, generating more, a bigger email list or more emails to follow up on, like what's your home worth and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely, you can go that direction with it. But for me, it's always been brand awareness, building the brand day by day, getting a little better every single day. Because again, I'm going to be doing other things in my business to generate now ready 60-day buyer leads. It's not going to, necessarily come from my podcast. The radio show does produce now ready leads, but that's a very local show. Right. We're digging into the local community, and that's an FM station that's here in Connecticut. The other thing is, like, I've just, over time, I've just created so many different shows and brands even within each one of my, like my personal brand or my real estate company brand. There's different brands that live within and under that can speak to different people, because we want to do a lot of deals, right? I mean, this year we want to do over 300 deals. So we're going to have to speak to a lot of different people's interests.
That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. All right. Well, that was pretty good. That was actually really, really good. A lot of validating points for everything that we like to help our clients and the people that we work with and the real estate agents. We work with a lot of DC, Maryland, Virginia agents. So we constantly try to get them to understand the process. And of course, it's a long form game. You understood it right off the gate. Probably after that keynote, it just all clicked, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you taking the time. And any parting words for anybody that's still hesitant about building their personal brand on social media in particular?
If you're planning on being in the business longer than say 3 years, you know, if you're going to make this a career past 2023, you need to start now, like this weekend. I know it's a holiday weekend. You need to skip the picnic and start writing down, you know, what day you can do your show every single week. And you need to figure out how you're going to do this pillar show that you can pick all your content for the week. So if it's going to be an interview show with people in the community, if your passions maybe restaurants, maybe you're interviewing restaurant owners, whatever it's going to be, that's going to help you build a brand in your community, the place that you're going to do deals, you've got to start now. Everybody, you know, it's like we're in 2020 and it still blows my mind how little people are doing this and how big the opportunity is. For those of you that are going to retire in the next 3 years, that have a big referral business, you probably don't have to worry about doing a show. You should probably be looking though to sell your business to somebody in your market that does have a show. That way you can get a drip beyond 2023.
That's super smart. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Bryon. I really, really appreciate your time. Dropped a lot of gems. So that's pretty much it for today's podcast, guys. Producer Mindset. Make sure to stay tuned. We have awesome guests coming in every single week. And thank you again, Bryon.
All right, Michael, Josh, you guys be well. Happy 4th. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Bryon.